Okay, I'm gonna just let a few more people make their way in before we get started. This is the question I am going to be asking you. Where do you see your people pleasing showing up? So get ready to answer that. I'm going to talk for a few minutes first, and we're just going to jump right in because I want you to leave today with a better understanding of where your people pleasing is showing up and a specific skill that I'm going to teach you in detail to be able to begin to stop. Okay. My name is Sara Fisk. I am a master certified coach and instructor and recovering people pleaser every day. Every day I study it, I look at it in myself and in others, because this is the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning, to work with women on freeing themselves from just the way that people pleasing gunks everything up. And I know you're here because you don't like the way it's gunking up your own life. So we're going to answer some questions today. Number one, how is my people pleasing getting in the way of living the life that I choose for myself right now? What is it costing me? How do I stop? Right? Like, okay, I know I'm a people pleaser. How do I stop? And I want to give you a vision for what is possible when you stop, because that vision is what sustains you through what can be some hard work to do. All of us have spent decades stuck in people pleasing. I was constantly editing my words. I was so careful about what I would say. And sometimes I just wouldn't say anything at all if I thought it would upset anyone. I was constantly, not even sometimes, I was constantly late and stressed because I had said yes to so many good things. I was doing so much for so many people that it just literally didn't fit. I was late all the time. This is the biggest one for me. Maybe you feel the same way. I felt held hostage. And I know that maybe sounds dramatic, but I felt like I literally could not make a choice that might disappoint other people, that the decisions in my own life, people, my parents, primarily my friends, had to agree with, and I couldn't do what I wanted to do. So what started as kind of a quest to find out, why am I so anxious and resentful all the time? Why do I just constantly feel on edge? Like there's this constant low hum of worry in my life. Really led me to discover how to stop and contain my own people pleasing, and led me here with you. It is my mission to help free women from what I call the evil triplets: people pleasing, codependency, and perfectionism. And today we're going to focus on people pleasing. So you are going to hear me speak from a lot of passion and urgency about this problem, because it is costing you so much. And we're going to answer that question in a second. So let's jump in. Where is your people pleasing showing up? You can answer in the chat. You can just raise your hand and tell me. We're going to write some answers up here on the board. I'm going to continue admitting people, and they can just jump in when they get here. So where is your people pleasing showing up? Okay, yes. Putting other people's needs, other people. Needs are greater than yours. With your parents. I hear you, Jennifer. Not speaking up.
Spouse.
Men at work saying yes. Men. That's a tricky one. We, as good girls who are raised in a society that is dominated by patriarchy, we are taught to not speak up around men, especially when they might disagree or have a different opinion. Grown children. At work. Okay. Tying self-esteem to others' opinions. Yes.
I heard you set the parameters.
Okay.
Carter.
All right.
I set
As more
the
come up for
parameters.
you, I want you to try and be specific. Where at work is it showing up? Are you not able to say no to requests for free labor?
What did you
Where
say?
with your parents? Where with your grown children?
But what
Because
did
the
you
more
say?
specific we can be, the
No,
better
before that.
experience we're going to have today. Not realizing what is
Okay.
available for me. Okay. Not having what is available to me. Okay, are we having, let me see, can I just mute everybody here? I should be able to. No worries. If you are just muting yourself, happens to me all the time. In fact, an entire room of my peers heard me yell at my son to get his effing laundry done. So yeah, unless you're doing that, you're fine. You're ahead of me in the game. So, all right. Second question. Which emotions do you find yourself stuck in a lot because of these situations? So when you're not able to show up at work, resentment, that's a big one. Anger, yes, Teresa. So much anger. So much anger. Nothing pisses off a people pleaser like other people who aren't busting their butts to be people pleasers too. Right? Yes. Exhaustion, fear. Have we had guilt come up yet? Healthy amounts of guilt.
Yes, yes.
Exhaustion, fear, frustration, anger, guilt, anxiety. Yes. All of those. Okay, next question. How are you currently dealing with all those emotions? What are you doing when you're spinning in that resentment and anger? What are you doing with the guilt and the anger? Not working. I'm not. I'm an avoider. I hear you. I hear you. Yes. Journaling, exercising, ignoring. Okay. How many of you find yourselves? Yes, you said it. You got it. Overeating, numbing out, buffering, overanalyzing, overthinking. Yes. You know what? I used to have the sensation of like, I just want to go buy something. I just need to go buy something. And I would go to a store. I would just buy something to burn off some of that kind of that anxious hum, and then I would return it. Anybody identify with that? Teresa, do you have a question? Oh, that was just a thumbs up. Sorry. Thanks. Yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, eating, Netflixing, paralyzed, not able to make decisions. Yes, all of that. Yes, coaching, praying, ruminating, buffering. Yes. Okay. Next, how much time do you spend in these emotions and activities? So just do a little audit of your week. How many hours a day do you spend ruminating about what other people think of you? Worrying that they're mad, not able to make a decision because you're worried about who might be disappointed. Walking on eggshells, feeling paralyzed. Natalie, several hours a day. Yeah, Natalie, I want you to give me a number. Half the day, Jennifer. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. 3 hours a day. Yes, Natalie, that's the average. That's the low end of the average of the women I speak to. And Jennifer, 6 hours, 3 to 6 hours a day. When I talk to women and I ask them to quantify the time that they spend, it's 3 to 6 hours a day. So everybody pull out your calculators. This is the fun / awful part. Paige, not as much as I used to. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So let's say that you are on the low end of that spectrum of 3 to 6 hours, which is where usually hours in the middle of the night. Tracy, I hear you. Have any of you guys ever woken up because you're anxious about something, a decision you haven't made? Yes. Yeah. Sometimes it's in the middle of the freaking night. You can't even get a good night's sleep. I absolutely identify with that. So take out your calculators. Let's say you're on the low end, 3 hours a day times 7 days a week. That's 21 hours a week. Okay. Times 52 weeks a year. That's 1,092 hours. That is 1,092 hours that your brain is just hemorrhaging energy. Not to mention, now let's add the time that you spend Netflixing or shopping or overeating, right? That is part of the cost as well. So the women that I talk to with whom I do this work, it's thousands and thousands of hours a year. And it's not just time, it's brain space, it's energy, it's money, it's other resources that you are spending. And that is the cost. But it's not even the total cost. Because all of those hours that are getting spent, yes, Jennifer, you got it. It's the things, also the life that you are not creating. Because you have thousands of hours ruminating and worrying and shopping and eating and Netflixing. Can you see why I'm so excited about this? Can you sense why I am just, I've had it. I've had it. The whole purpose of doing this exercise together is so that you feel the urgency to address this. Because I'm going to pull out the Mary Oliver quote. This is your one wild and precious life. I just turned 50 this year. Maybe that's part of this. I don't have time to waste anymore. How many of you feel that? Like, I just don't have any more time to waste on this. And I will say this has nothing to do with how smart, how intelligent, how gifted, how aware you are. We have been programmed to be people pleasers since the time we were born. And that is why we don't know how to fix it. So much of it exists subconsciously. Now, I'm going to talk you through the solutions, and then we're going to take a deep dive into one of them that will give everyone a place to start today. So this is costing you a ton of your time, energy, and effort, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault. So here's a solution. These are the 5 things that everyone that I work with has to do to be able to stop their people pleasing. You are welcome to take notes. I'm going to send out pictures of all of these, of every board as soon as we are done here. So, number 1, they have to create some awareness. It is essential that you understand when and why you are people pleasing so you can catch it. I know, and maybe you identify with this as well. Sometimes you're like, how did I volunteer for the school carnival? Like, how did this happen? It's a habit that just carries you away when you are not aware of it. And awareness gives you the chance to break this habit. Okay, so that's the first one. You have to create awareness. Number 2, you have to get to know the real you. So many women that I talk to, in fact, all of the women that I talk to, have spent decades full of what other people want for them, keeping other people's rules, living up to other people's expectations. It is essential that you understand what you want for you, so that you can really create the life that you want and not the life that other people expect you to create. Number 3, you've got to build some skills. When we are stuck in people pleasing, perfectionating, and being codependent, those are the obstacles to creating the life that you want. And so you have to have some skills to be able to stop them. Once you have awareness and you know the real you, the skills that I teach inside of my group program, Stop People Pleasing, that is the plan. That's what we implement to create the life that you want. Number 4, you have to learn how to evaluate what is working for you and what isn't, and then try again. Nothing works the first time. I'll say that differently. Not everything works the full time. Sometimes it does. But remember, we have so many emotions around this. That guilt and that resentment and that anxiousness, those are real. And so oftentimes it takes trying that skill over and over and over again, and it will work, especially when you have an evaluation tool to help you find what is helpful, and you have me coaching you on the obstacles that you don't know how to overcome. Because remember, I told you, this is not about how smart you are. This is about the invisible programming that has been in your brain since you were a baby. Number 5, you have to have your own back. This is critical. This is essential. So many of us have been conditioned to believe that the way we get better is to be hard on ourselves, to be stern, to be disciplined. It's total bullshit. How do we know? Because many of you are beating yourselves up to try and get better. And is it working? It doesn't. There is a better way that works every single time, and it's learning how to have your own back. All right. We're going to dive deeply into this one, skill number 3, and I'm going to teach you how to process emotions. I'm going to take just a second and make sure that everyone is muted, because we're getting some feedback. And okay. Let me know if that feedback keeps happening, because I want to make sure that we don't have it. If you have any questions or if you have anything you want to comment on, please put it in the chat. All right. Number 3, one of the main skills that we work on inside Stop People Pleasing is how to process emotions. Let me trying to find the last person who might not be muted. Just because that keeps. Okay. So, how to process emotions. As we work through not people pleasing, it's uncomfortable to not people please. I mean, you think it's difficult and uncomfortable to be all of a sudden volunteering at the school carnival when you didn't really want to. That's one type of discomfort. It's also really uncomfortable to not people please. And so processing emotions is essential. Here is the method that I teach for how to process an emotion. I want you to take your mind back to one of the emotions that you mentioned spending a lot of time in: resentment, guilt, fear, anger. And imagine that you're feeling it in your body. I'm trying to remember a time when I felt like I couldn't say no, and just that tight feeling. Okay. So some of you might actually be able to feel the emotion in your body right now. Some of you might not. It's totally fine, because we're going to go through the steps and they work either way. So number 1, I want you to take your hands and I want you to put them on your body in just a place that feels like loving, connected presence. That's what I call connected hands. Just take your hands. I have some clients who like this. Some of us feel like the words like literally get stuck in our throats. You can put your hand over your throat. And then name the emotion as you start to take deep breaths. So for me, anxiety is the one that I would always feel. This is anxiety. I'm feeling anxiety. And then begin to talk to yourself in a loving, gracious way. Because most of the time, what do? Stop it. Why are you feeling this? Gosh, get on with your day. Why are you doing this? We're not going to do that. So I'm here. I'm listening. I'm here. I'm listening. Even if you're not feeling the emotion, notice what happens in your body when you just say to yourself, I'm here. I'm listening. And how I feel like I'm melting or a softening, crying. Yes. So beautiful. Okay. Now start to take deep breaths, and I want you to focus on the exhale and make the exhale a little bit longer every time you exhale until your exhale is about twice as long. So deep breaths and extend that exhale. Then you're going to feel it pass. It can feel almost like it evaporates or that it just kind of runs all the way through your body. Are you noticing that? Keep taking those deep breaths and feel it pass. Okay, then the last step, once you have practiced this many times, is to create, let me just make sure you can see this. Create a shorthand, because we are not always in situations where we can put our hands on our chests and take a bunch of deep breaths and take some time. I hope you do this regularly when you can, but sometimes we're in a meeting or sometimes we're with other people and we don't feel capable or like it would be appropriate to do that. So you create a shorthand. My shorthand is I take one hand and I put it under the other and I just rub my finger like this. That's my shorthand for I'm here. I'm paying attention. I know what's going on. Other people, like the pressure of like squeezing their hands or squeezing forearms, that's another great one. So create a shorthand so that when you are not able to go through this whole list, you have something you can do until you can take better care of your emotions later. Okay, I just want to check in. Any questions on that? Tell me in the chat, what was that like for you? What did you notice? What did you experience? The shorthand is great. I'm glad you like it so much. It's one of my favorite things, and I find myself doing it just like all the time. It's like, I know, I'm here. This doesn't feel very good. I've got you. Immediately went to tears. How many of you experienced some tears? That is your body saying, thank you. Thank you for slowing down to pay attention to me. Thank you for giving me a moment to speak to you. Voice, to be able to say, calming. Terry, I'm not a touchy person, but putting my hands on my heart was an instant relief. I'm so happy, Terry. That, Megan, yes, it is magical. Yes. Jennifer, I needed to hear myself tell myself that I am here. And wow, that was powerful. One of the consequences of our good girl programming, of our programming to be people pleasers, is that we spend so much time up here and so little time down here connecting to those feelings. But those feelings are driving the bus all the time. And when we can process our emotions, it is such a valuable practice. Jenna, I'm so happy you got the melt feeling. It's one of my favorite feelings to just feel it like melt away. Natalie, I often find that I don't have the vocabulary to decipher the emotion. Totally fine. You can just say this feels uncomfortable. I don't like this. I know this doesn't feel good. I hear you. It doesn't feel good. And you don't even have to name it to even just say, ugh, like, ugh. Sometimes that's all I do. Ugh, I know. Yeah. This does not feel really good. That gets better the more you practice it, but it's not essential because what that emotion wants from you is your focus and some love from you. And so the connected hands, the breathing, and the focus gives that to it. I had a client named Megan, and she loved learning about step 2. She was a dancer before she got married and she became a mom. And between the really new challenges of being a first-time mom and thinking that she was selfish for taking any time away, she completely stopped dancing. And as I helped her reconnect to her body and her emotions and learn to give herself permission, she started dancing again. And being a mom became so much more joyful for her. How many of you are not doing things that you know you would love because you feel guilty taking time for yourselves? Lisa was a client of mine who was a coach, and she was really struggling to show up powerfully in her business, talking in front of people. She really believed in what she was doing, but she was one of those people who felt like the words just got stuck right here. And so I helped her reconnect with a scared little girl who had experienced a lot of racism when she was younger. And through these very steps, I taught her skills to tolerate that fear and to process her emotions. And she was able to learn to say what she wanted to say. Step 5, having your own back was really powerful for a client of mine, Elena, because like you, like me, she had come from a real history of having to be tough and to try harder, to break habits. She was super frustrated with herself and actually thought there might be something wrong with her. How many of you have had that thought? Like, I think there's something like extra special, super broken just about me because I'm not able to do this. And you think that what you should do is try harder. Ugh. I want to reach over there and just hug you because it doesn't work. And that unkindness just feels like such a heavy burden. So I worked with her to create a soft and gentle, disciplined, loving way of speaking to herself. And she was able to break her perfectionism patterns and find a new way. Jane, for those of you who have some adult children situations you would like to learn how to handle, she was my client who was paying a lot of money for her adult children's expenses. And that might have been fine, but it was undermining her own financial security. She was giving the money that she didn't have. And this is what she said. Sara gave me a clear set of guidelines to evaluate my part in the situation, and that was so helpful. I was able to make big changes, stop paying for expenses, start saving money for my retirement, and not ruin our relationships. All of the programming that we have around what we are allowed to do and what we are not allowed to do is what we address inside Stop People Pleasing. So I'm going to tell you about that next. I want you to consider coming and spending 5 months with me working on this together. Having me walk you through each of these steps, how they apply specifically to you, helping you see the obstacles that are in the way inside my group program, which is called Stop People Pleasing, because that's what I teach you how to do. So I'm going to give you some information. The cost is $3,500, and that is payable a number of different ways in payments. And I also offer 2 reduced price spots per group. I want to tell you exactly what you get for that. Stop People Pleasing is a beautifully supportive community of women who are all working on the exact same issues. You know how powerful it is when a bunch of women get together. They are all single-mindedly focusing on eliminating something that is in their way. They're unstoppable. It's my favorite place to be in the whole world because of the camaraderie and the cheerleading that happens inside. We celebrate each other's wins. We hold space and belief in each other for the times when we're struggling. Group coaching is magic because not only do you get my attention and in the coaching when I coach you specifically, but you also get to learn from everyone else in the group. We meet weekly for 20 weeks via Zoom in a small, intimate group of 10 to 12 women. I keep the group small on purpose so that nobody can hide and everybody learns to speak up for what they need. Because how many times have you signed up for something and then you don't raise your hand? You don't speak up because you're afraid of what other people will say or what they will think, that you'll sound dumb, that everybody will know that you don't know what you're doing. I've done it. And so I keep the group small on purpose to avoid that. Part of the work is speaking up. Sessions are recorded. They come with worksheets and you have lifetime access to the space where only group participants are given access. So you have the sessions, you have what I teach, you have the coaching, and you have the worksheets forever. You can always go back if you miss a class or a group coaching session, it's always there for you to look at. The worksheets guide your progress, they take it deeper. If you do them multiple times, it's like peeling an onion. You get a new layer every single time. There is a private Facebook group for written coaching in between sessions. You can post unlimited times. You can ask for coaching unlimited times. You can share wins, you can celebrate, you can ask questions, you can get clarification. All of that happens inside our private Facebook group. Now, every participant gets a private 45-minute session with me during the course of the group so that I can make sure that you, number one, that you really get everything you came for and that you're well taken care of. I want you to leave knowing that you got exactly what you wanted when you signed up. And that's what that one-to-one session is for, to make sure that you get that. This round, we are going to be meeting starting September 19th, ending February 13th. I'm going to take you through the holidays. I mean, how fun is that? For a lot of us, that's when our people pleasing is the hardest. It's when we're having lots of family events, when we're having to navigate. I mean, I really believe that the people with whom we spent our earliest years, our parents, our caregivers, our brothers, our sisters, that's where the people pleasing is ingrained the deepest. So this is the holiday session of Stop People Pleasing. We're going to be meeting from 10 to 11 a.m. Pacific time, and that's the time for the entire 20 weeks. One thing that I didn't write down here, I have guest coaches who come in to teach about grief, about how to communicate, about how people pleasing is a trauma response and how to work with it when it is really hard and even traumatic for you. So you get my brain. You also get the brains of the best coaches I know who coach on subjects that are not my expertise: style, communication, grief, sex, and trauma responses. This time I'm going to offer a bonus. This is the first time I've ever done this. I want to see how it goes. If you sign up by the end of this week, September 1st at midnight, I'm going to give you an extra 45-minute session that you can use whenever you want. You can use it during the course of the program. You can use it before we start. You can use it after. It literally never expires. And so you can use that anytime you like. Any questions on that? All right. Close your eyes for a second. I want you to imagine, what would your life look like if you were not people-pleasing anymore? If at work, you could speak up and say exactly what it was that you wanted to say. If you were able to have any conversation with anyone about anything in a loving, respectful way. If you're not walking on eggshells anymore, you're able to speak up and share your opinions without apologizing or diminishing yourself. You're able to disappoint other people with graciousness rather than disappoint yourself. And you're able to let it go without worrying. What would you do with all of those hours that your brain isn't tied up in ruminating, anxiousness, that you're not eating or Netflixing or social media-ing, because you are able to just say what you want to say and do what you want to do and maintain loving relationships? Tell me in the chat, what would you be doing with all that time, all those thousands and thousands of hours that are currently tied up in people pleasing? What would your life look like? Sonia would be loving herself more. Absolutely. Creating more in my business, 100%. Very freeing and very creative. Marianne, you're exactly right. Yeah, because all that time is now yours. All those hours are yours. All that energy that's worrying and anxious and resentful, it is now yours. Sarah's going to write a book, y'all. I love it. I'm all for it. I will be the first one to buy it and read it. Terry, my brain wants to say I'll change my rumination to losing those other people that used to be my people pleasing. Terry, you are not wrong. There will be some people who do not like it when you stop people pleasing because they benefit from it, right? I will teach you how to handle that. It's disappointing. There is some grief involved. But here's what I've learned. You don't want those people anyway. And you'll find friendships where you are fully and wholly welcomed, loved, and accepted. Natalie, I'd be spending more time in nature, physically active, writing music, and spending time with the people I value, 100%. Jennifer, spending more quality time with my partner. I notice this is where I withdraw a lot of time to people please. Yes. Being a better manager, Jelena. Finding a hobby that I'm interested in. You know that that's one of the things. I didn't really expect that, but so many of the women I talk to, they have a lot of wishes, but very few actual hobbies, because it's something that they keep putting off. When the kids are grown, when I've finished this project, when Christmas is over, right? So Nicole, you're exactly right. You'll find a hobby that you're interested in and you'll be able to really enjoy it. Jenna, not stuck and paralyzed, able to get on without it. It being the things that I'm too scary. It's too scary to face. Capable, not in pain. You all are saying it. I think that it is really this is what I wish for you. I wish that we would all have the feeling that we are powerful, that we are sovereign, that I am the boss of me, and that I get to do the work that I love, whatever that work is, whether it's writing a book, whether it's staying home with children, whether it's going out into the workforce, whether it's starting a hobby. that part doesn't matter so much to me, but that you get that time and energy and effort back to feel powerful and sovereign and do the work that you love. And that you are connected in real, meaningful, rewarding relationships, first to yourself and then to others, where every one of you is, all of you is welcome, loved, and accepted. People pleasing is in the way of that. I have that. I have those connected, loving relationships first to myself and with others. And I feel so powerful every morning when I wake up. Because it's not that I never ever people please, it's I know how to contain it and work with it when I need to. And I want nothing less for you. So here's what I want you to do right now. Go to your email, because in the time that we've been together in this webinar, I sent you an email that has the program information recap and the link to sign up for the program if you are ready to do that, or the link to schedule a consult with me if you have some questions. So while you do that, I'm going to read a few more of these amazing visions for life post people pleasing. Natalie, I would be able to trust myself and be trustworthy. So good. Jenna, I would be the protagonist of our own stories instead of side support characters. Jenna, that is so gorgeous. I love that. Sarah does too. Okay. So in your email, you'll see two links after the program recap. Number one is to just sign up for the program. If you know that you are ready to do this work with me and to have my help through these steps, sign up. If you know, I really want to sign up and I have some important questions to ask, grab that consult link, click on it. It will take you to my schedule, and then you can choose a time to tell me more about your personal situation, and I can answer any questions that you have. You're more than welcome to ask any question that you have right now. I'm watching for any hands that are raised, and I'm also watching the chat. But if you would like to have that time with me, I want to give it to you so that I can make sure that you understand everything that's available to you and that I understand the particular way that people pleasing is showing up for you and in your life. So if you are at all curious about what that life would look like, here's what I want to say to you. Here's what I believe about myself that I want for you to believe about you. I can say whatever I need to say clearly, directly, with kindness and respect. And I can manage that anxiety that comes up when I do it. I can let other people be wrong about me. I can disappoint other people when it's necessary. I no longer have to pretend or perform for anyone unless I want to. Sometimes I want to, but it's my choice. It's not an obligation anymore. I'm not held hostage by it. I'm deeply connected to my own wants and needs. And that is such a beautiful, beautiful feeling. I know how to take care of myself in ways that limit my burnout and increase just like a joy for being alive. That really helps balance out the shitty days that still are just part of the human experience. But I trust myself and my decisions. That is what I want for you. So sign up for Stop People Pleasing, the program. Sign up for a consult. Either way, I cannot wait to have a chance to talk with you about your situation and your questions. I'm going to stay here for a few minutes to answer any questions, anything that comes up for you here. I'm just going to let the recording go. Any questions? What did you think? You are so welcome. You are so welcome. I'm so glad that you appreciated it. This is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. You're very welcome. All right, I'm going to stop the recording and I'm just going to stay here. If you have any questions, you are welcome to ask me, or I will see you on a consult call.